What is going on, guys? My name is Feeds, and welcome to Feeds Mindset Episode 10 with the man, Goofy. Goofy, man, how are you?
Was good. Yo, I am vibing, man. I'm
Yeah,
vibing.
man, I'm
Happy to be
super
here. Happy to be
excited.
here.
I'm excited for this. We've been talking about this for well over a week now, at least, to be able to get things ready and stuff, and we're finally here. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you, obviously, for your time to be able to be on here, share your story, and just spread awareness for everything. So I mean, let's just get right into it. So Goofy, you are. What would you currently say? Like, who currently right now is Goofy?
I am a father slash streamer slash content creator, I guess. You
Hmm.
could put it like that. I just grind every day to try and make my dreams come true, provide a life for my family that is sustainable and comfortable, you know?
Yeah, definitely,
That's
definitely.
that's basically the Goofy brand right there, man.
Yeah, and
Entertain,
and one
provide.
more thing to add on to that, you're also a big social media manager as well, aren't you?
Yeah, so I haven't been too focused on this recently just because I've
Hmm.
been putting more focus into like my own content and whatnot,
Sure.
trying to blow up myself. But I was definitely doing social media management there for a minute, and I do enjoy that as well. Like helping other people grow, that's a big thing with me as well.
Yeah,
I'm always down
definitely.
for that.
And you're also pretty big. The most, I guess, famous thing you're known for is your TikToks. What are some of
Yeah.
the additives on TikTok that you're known for, like your views and how long you've been on there and stuff?
I guess so. I started posting on TikTok about when I started streaming, probably about like 2 years ago. But I
Hmm.
didn't really get like consistent on TikTok until right around Modern Warfare 2 drop. I was somewhat consistent in Cold War. I enjoyed posting videos. I just enjoyed editing, I just got videos out because I enjoyed editing. And
Yeah.
then Modern Warfare 2 hit, and I decided to actually like push and learn like keyframes with edits and like all those extra stuff. And it launched my TikToks, my content in general into a whole new atmosphere of where I was at before. And it's been a nice grind, you know what I mean? I put work into learning captions, I put work into learning what or hashtags I need to use,
Hmm.
how long the video should be, all that stuff. So
Yeah, definitely.
it's been a grind.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's phenomenal. That's definitely the biggest thing that you're known for, I would say. Do you like that title? Do you like knowing that you're known on TikTok rather than like streaming or YouTube and stuff? Is it cool to know that TikTok, because it is kind of like a newer trend in a way, because it's only been out for
Right.
a few years compared to the other platforms.
No, in my opinion, I kind of look at it as like every other social media is. It's just, I guess, nice to be known,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like it's
definitely.
that's kind of the goal, you know what I mean? To be well known at the end of this, be successful within this industry, you know. So that being, I guess, known as you could say over on TikTok and being as I guess as grinded out, or I don't know how I could put this,
Right,
but
right. I
grinding
got
out
you.
as hard as grinding out as hard as I have. It's been nice, bro. It's I look at it as just every other social media, you know. It's a good
Yeah,
feeling.
definitely, and that's kind of like a big thing too. So obviously, me and you, we've been friends for a good minute now, and we've had little talks like this before. But I just kind of want to remind you, that you are a huge inspiration to people. I mean, I've seen all the comments on your TikToks. I've seen your TikToks of people noticing you and giving you, the kudos and the lobbies and the kill cams and stuff. And you're a huge inspiration. So I know that you're excited and that you're so motivated to get it done, but just don't change. Like you've made such a bigger impact than and I just want you to know that. So yeah, so I'm really excited about
That's
all that.
great to
I'm
hear,
I'm
man.
glad I'm glad that you've got a lot of the cool things that are coming up and things that you currently do. But let's kind of travel back in time. Like let's go back to before, not even before the streaming, but before the gaming. Like, how did Goofy get into gaming? Was it something you used as an escape? Was it just something you traveled upon? And how did that gaming turn into a relationship into the environment and the world that we live in now?
I actually don't get asked this question too often. I like that question. I like this a lot. This makes me think. This actually, like, the first game that I can genuinely remember, like, getting into and absolutely loving. I was a very, very young kid. I was like 4 or 5 years old, and one of my friends had two DSs, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had this black one, he had a white one. He never used this black one, so he was like, "Yo, like I'm not gonna give this to you, but you can use this like basically as much as you want, you know what I mean? And here's a bunch of games." And he gave me this game called Pokemon Soul Silver. I don't know if you've ever
Oh
heard that.
yeah,
It was a
yep,
Pokemon game. And I played that game so much. Like I was addicted to that game as a kid. Like that was probably that's the most sentimental game that I can remember, just because like it's the first game that I can genuinely remember getting into,
yeah,
right? I beat that game entirely, and that was really the start of my gaming obsession, I guess you could say.
right,
And then my next game that I can genuinely remember playing was Black Ops 1 on the PS3. And I used to play with my older brother, and me being like 6 years old and him being 4 years older than me, like 10, 11, I used to
yeah.
shit on him like as a little kid. And he tells me this all the time. We talk about this, and he's like, dude, you were so good at like it's such a little kid. And it used to make me so mad. He's like, you just had this talent when it came to video games from the beginning, just right off rip. You just understood them, which definitely it obviously translates into me trying to be a content creator.
Yeah.
But I got into Black Ops 1, and from that point on I wanted my own console. I didn't get my own console until like I was in like 7th grade, so it was probably like 2014, 2015. Right? I
Mm-hmm.
got a PS3, and that same day that I got a PS3, I was already like doing like little jobs with my dad and whatnot, making my own money, just trying to
Right.
do my own hustle, you know? And I had saved up enough money to buy Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2, and there was one other game, I think it was like Batman or something,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I bought those 3 games, and Black Ops 2 became just an ultimate, like that became my game, you know what I mean? I played Black Ops 2 and I grinded that game out well way longer than anyone should have. I played that game like way into the hacker era of it, you know what I mean? Like I loved that game. I did not want to put it down. And then from that point on, I think I moved to Fortnite, and you know where Fortnite went, you know what I mean?
Trash.
Like yeah, Fortnite is definitely it's not my forte. I did like Fortnite when I
It was
played it.
good
I
when
was
it
good at
started
the
out.
game.
I will give
Yeah,
that the
I was
utmost
good at the
credit. It was
game.
a
I was
sick game.
definitely above average. I was one of those players that people were like, "Yo, dude, like you play way too fast." I was an editor, builder, all that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I took that game
Yeah,
seriously as well.
yeah.
I shouldn't have, but I did. And then I moved to Cold War, which is when I started streaming and started like making content and stuff like that. And it was actually Blink, if you know who this is. I've talked about Blink a lot throughout my
Mm.
career, just
I know a
because
little
like a
bit, not too
lot,
much.
yeah, I give Blink a huge like kudos for what I've done, because he literally introduced me into all of it. So I found his YouTube channel playing Cold War, looking for like Cold War sniper setups and
Right.
stuff. Found his channel, and in his one of his videos he said something about Twitch. I had never downloaded Twitch before a day in my life, never watched live streamers. I was just a YouTube guy, you know what I mean? So I downloaded Twitch and I decided to watch Blink, and I just instant connection, bro. I just fucking loved his content. Started playing with him for a minute, and then him and his community were like, "Goofy, why don't you stream? Like you're good at the game, you know what I mean? You're always talking to people in lobby, like you can keep people entertained. Why don't you try streaming?" So I did, and then Blink took like a little bit of a break when it came to a lot of like content and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And when he took that break in his Discord, he told his community to come and support me while he was away and
Oh
stuff.
wow.
And yeah, that just like it meant that was literally the takeoff for my career. That is when I
Yeah.
actually started doing decent on Twitch, started averaging 20 plus viewers or whatever. Like when I started doing at least decent before I started like getting closer to partner numbers and over on Twitch and whatnot before I moved to Kick, you know. So
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean that's sick. That's crazy that you had got into that. I Pokemon was a lot of my career too. As a kid, obviously getting into it.
yeah,
I
I
remember
feel like that's a big
days.
thing for a lot of people that
I
are gamers
remember.
nowadays.
I remember days where I had to. It was so stupid. Like I would play on my little Game Boy Advance, and I would sit on the floor in between where the door and like the carpet was, and there was like a gap in between like the light and the darkness, because like the Game Boy Advance wasn't as like bright, so sometimes I had to
Yeah.
sit in the sun, sometimes I had to sit in the dark, and spending hours on hours playing. I think it was Pokemon Blue, and then I went to Red, and then so on so on. And that was a huge part of my career. And even like when the Switch came out, like when I first got a Switch and got to play Sword and Shield for the first time, it was the most fun Pokemon wise that I've had on a game.
I
Like,
still have yet to do that, bro. I
yeah,
want to get a Switch myself and play the new ones just for
yeah.
like a blast in the past type
I
thing, you
would
know
I
what I
would
mean?
definitely highly recommend it for sure. But yeah, I mean, you know a lot of my like some of my COD background and stuff, and on the podcast, I don't want to re-explain everything, obviously, but Ghost, just like I've said over and over, Ghost is a big part of my come up in my career and stuff. So Black Ops 1, I never got into. I don't know. I guess it just wasn't for me. I didn't like it that much. I'd played it a little bit. I think literally my first experience on Black Ops 1 was a dude invisible that shanked me, and that really pissed me off. Like
Sounds about right.
it's the first time loading in. So it left a bad taste in my mouth. But I don't know. I didn't like how the guns were. They just felt really awkward to me. So I from going from Ghost and then trying out Black Ops 1 was like, but then when I tried out Black Ops 2, I was like, damn, I was like, this is a sick ass game, And Black Ops 2 is a great game, and I played it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think I hopped onto the Black Ops 2 trend a little bit later because like that was right before like the next COD came out. So I'd kind of unfortunately around the time I got into the community and all that kind of stuff, it was like almost done for. Which I mean, obviously Black Ops 2 is never going to be done for. I mean, still to this day,
no, there's still people playing that shit to this day, man.
But yeah, I'd kind of had the same come up. I mean, I played Fortnite just like everybody else. Like I said, I'll do respect to Fortnite. That I think it was like up until the third season is when shit started to kind of get whack for me personally. There's people that play Fortnite right now that's love that shit the whole way through, and like
All
that's
the way
fine.
through,
Like
bro. Yeah.
that's perfectly
No,
fine.
my little brother
but,
actually, he still plays that game. He loves it. He grinds it out. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
each their own, but I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, but after about season 3, that's when I did kind of start getting bored of it, and I started like when season 3 started and all these new updates and all this, like the bush wikis and all that kind of stuff started coming out. I started getting like really mad, and that was like my little era. I feel like every normal gamer goes some type of through like some rage or aggression phase. It's a phase that you're.
I still am yet to get out of
it's a phase that you're not proud of, and nobody really talks about it. But I remember there was one time I was playing. I think I was playing a duo server because I was like, I'm a good enough shot. I can 1v2 people or whatever. And I was playing on duos, and I think there was like literally like 4 kids left. And around I think season 3, there wasn't like a lot of buildings at the time, so it was a lot of just like land and mountains and bushes and stuff.
Right.
And I had came out of the circle trying to get into the new circle, and I'd popped around this corner of a mountain, and there's this kid just sitting there, and he just instant tapped me, and I fucking like I threw my control up. Like as a kid, like you'll get like a tree branch and a rock, and you'll throw it up, and then you'll hit it. I fucking tossed my controller up, and I was like, ah! And I like punched the shit out of it, and I even have a picture. It's a long time ago, but I even have a picture on my knuckles on my ring finger. It literally, I shit you not, it had like the FaZe logo of like the scar that I had, and I literally tagged FaZe in it and everything. It's from a while ago. I'd have to go back and find it. But that Fortnite was an era where I started to kind of notice that I was getting a bit more pissed in aggression, and it's supposed to be a kid's game, It's like that's the thing that pissed me off the most because I've been through COD and I've been through the worst, and hearing all these grown men, in voice chat and lobbies and everything, and Fortnite was the one that ended up, it being like my breaking point. Make no fucking sense.
No, yeah, Fortnite was an irritating game for sure. And you talking about this, sorry, I had to pull up my phone real quick just to show you. Us talking about this and you talking about pictures actually reminded me of this. This is one of my favorite pictures, and I will never delete it. This is from years ago, and it's just this shows you my rage era of gaming. I guess I obviously still have my rages now, but I feel like it's normal for gamers to rage. Like
yeah,
we get irritated at the games we're playing. A lot of the time the games are irritating, like Call of Duty, for instance. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see this very well. My phone's really destroyed, but it's a broken controller and it says no more Fortnite. The caption on that is no more Fortnite. Like that's that's the type
that's
of
crazy,
stuff.
dude. I don't think I've ever I don't think I've ever broken a controller. I've had a lot of them. I mean, like I have broken, not like broken, like most of them's like stick drift or like the buttons stop working, but I don't think I've ever like shattered a fucking controller. So you had to be upset. You had to be upset.
That controller, I don't even remember what happened. Like I genuinely don't remember what happened, but what I do remember is me getting really, 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 really mad right? Going
Mhm.
out back and throwing the controller, and it was already like somewhat broken by this point. I threw the controller, right? And it landed in dirt and shit. So like it didn't really get that messed up, but there was dirt stuck in all of the buttons. So I couldn't press
Ah.
any of the buttons. So I just destroyed that. Like I don't remember exactly how I destroyed it, but I got so heated, bro. That was the end of it.
It's so crazy, man. Like, I think the wildest thing is like when you rage at a game and punch something or get really upset, like everybody has that moment where it's like if it's not just a few seconds after you're mad, then you're very hesitant. So like to be able to grab your controller and walk down the hallway to go inside, like go outside, and you have all those seconds going from you being pissed to getting over it. It's crazy, like the
If
amount of
something
aggression,
happened, I don't know,
the amount of
like
aggression
some
that
guy
you
did
had to have.
something that sent me. It sent me all. I'll never break another thing like that again. Don't get me wrong. I
That's
haven't broken
crazy.
anything like that in years, man. I'm good about keeping stuff intact. You know, I've had this golden controller sitting right next to me for like 3 years now. But I will say back then when I was like 15, 16 years old, you know what I mean? I had zero self-control. I would get angry and yeah, that was just that, bro. I would destroy shit on the spot. Like it
That's
was
crazy,
bad,
man.
man. I've gotten a lot better about it though. I
Yeah,
will say that.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I feel like a lot of people like nowadays, especially like as grown ass adults, like when you rage, you're like, oh, you should know better. You're an adult, and I was like, I think it is kind of normal depending on how like much destruction you cause. I feel like it is kind of normal
Yeah,
to like
no,
to
yeah,
punch
you're right.
something or get mad or hit your desk or something every now and then. But there's some people out there that have no self discipline. I mean, I've seen like a big the
Half
funny
the memes
stream.
I put in my videos, I don't know if you've seen my YouTube videos, but half the memes I stick in there are people just destroying their
Yeah,
setups,
and
like
I
people
love
just
watching
taking
those
keyboards and
compilations too.
smash.
I love watching
Yeah.
those compilations. They're so funny. But like a guy like he doesn't. I don't think he's really like broke his setup. I don't know if you've seen Jinxie. He's a big Rainbow Six Siege
I
player, and
Jinxie's so funny.
I
He's
love
so
watching him.
funny.
He'll be like, and then smack his camera. I don't
Have
know
you
how his
Have you
camera's still
seen
alive.
the edit that they made recently of it was like world's strongest camera? Because you know how cameras break a lot from people like just
Oh, where
smacking
it's
their
just
desk
him
and stuff.
shitting on the camera
Yeah,
over and over and
yeah,
over and
yo,
over.
he's just banging his desk, punching his camera, punching his monitors, like just going ham, bro. And
I
that camera did not break. I was like, yo, I need a camera like
You know,
that. Like,
I feel like this is kind of a good topic that I'm just now thinking about that I do want to cover. I do want to talk about Goofy and a little bit more where he came from, but on this topic of aggression, I feel like the one who normalized it and changed that for gaming and gamers was FaZe Jev. I
yeah,
genuinely feel
no,
like he was the one that
that was what I was
revolutionized
expecting you
it
to
being
say when
okay.
you.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about that because me and you have had talks, and you love Jev as a creator. He's
Yeah,
somebody that you look up.
Jev's
I look
Jev's
up
an
to him.
inspiration for sure.
But I wanted to talk about that. Like what was your thought? I can't really remember my time frame really like watching his videos. I just know that one day I just stumbled upon him. Because I think for me, I think I was watching like some of his Outlast stuff because that was around the time like years ago that I was wanting to like get into Outlast, and so I was watching some Let's Plays and scary games, and I think it would just popped up on my page on like his like most watched, and I was like, what's this? And I was like, oh shit, it's like this is serious. And so how did you feel like watching that, seeing an adult man get into the
I
top of
loved it,
aggression?
bro. I loved it. I thought it was the funniest shit ever. I still think it's the funniest shit ever. Like how I found out about him, I was really young. I was playing Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 at the time, you know what I mean, Black Ops 2, whatever. I was playing the Call of Duty games and I stumbled across his flashbang, you know what I'm talking about? Why
Yeah.
is it when I flashbang people? Dude, when I stumbled across that clip, I lost it, bro. I absolutely lost it. That was my favorite clip for the longest time. I still go back and watch that every now and
Yeah.
then just because it's so funny. Like, but that's how I found out about Jeb. And then I started watching more of his stuff and more of his COD raging stuff. You know what I mean? I loved his content from the get go. And this was before he even joined FaZe. Actually,
Mm,
like he was just Jeb at this point.
yeah.
And he started making like Geometry Dash content where he'd rage at Geometry Dash, and that's where I really started watching like every single video that he dropped. Like every new video, the day that it dropped, I would watch it just because I knew it was gonna be a funny rage compilation. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
during that time, he was doing Geometry Dash, he was doing Call of Duty, he was doing whatever games were big at that moment in time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was a variety of stuff that he was raging to that I could just I could just enjoy, and like
Yeah.
even now, the post that I made on Twitter not too long ago, I legit made a post saying if I get 50 likes on this post, I'll make a MW2 Rage Taj. And like posting that, I'm literally thinking of Jev's raging clips. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that's if I were to make a Rage Taj, that's what I would go with for sure. I
Yeah.
would go with his
That's
Taj.
so crazy, man. I would love to like know like Jeff's perspective. I guess like that's kind of where I would love for this podcast to go, to be able to build enough to where creators like that would, want to be on that. And I would love being able to just kind of dive back into that era and hear their side of the story about how all that formed up. But,
100%.
it
That'd be dope.
revolutionized for gamers, tons of content. And like, I think the coolest thing that I like about it is like, on the whole mental health thing is like, him raging provided so many people happiness when they were depressed. And it's like, it's the craziest thing to think about, because you're just thinking about somebody that's screaming at the top of their lungs upset at a game, and that
Yeah,
cures,
no.
people's depression. And it's insane the changes that gaming and creators can make. So yeah, so before we kind of get back on topic of what's going on currently now and some different points and stuff, I did obviously want to bring up, something that I always ask everybody is your name, Goofy. Where did Goofy come from? How did that came to be? How did you end up not only being a creator that connected through Blink and had a bunch of great connections and getting into streaming and understanding algorithms and all that stuff, but Goofy is the one that kind of started it all. I mean, Goofy was Goofy before you was Goofy, so how did that came to be?
Right. Okay, so I guess I'll start off with how I got my name tag, like my gamer
Hmm.
tag. When I got my PS3 as a kid, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
When I very first got my PS3, I was going through all different kinds of names. I don't remember the name that I
Hmm.
chose before Goofy, but I was going through all different kinds of names, so I couldn't really choose one specific one that I wanted to stick with.
Right.
And I was talking to my older brother, right? And we were both thinking about Call of Duty related stuff because we were both into like a Call of Duty at that point in time. So we came up with the idea of Goofy Goober, right? Because we thought it would be hilarious for people to like see that somebody named Goofy Goober killed them. Like, and they would just get so mad, and then they would hear my voice in the mic and realize that I'm fucking 10 years old, dude, a little ass kid, Goofy Goober, you know what I mean? And it like and I feel like I started it off with like a content type mindset without
Yeah.
actually making the content. You know what I mean? It was just like it's just kind of how that started off. So I started off and it was Goofy Goober 1145. That was my full gamer tag. And I rocked with that for a really long time. And then I moved from my PS3 to an Xbox One S actually. And when I moved to the Xbox One S, me and my older brother and his one of his really really good friends that is actually still around to this day. We all started this clan, I guess you could say, called the Skunk Clan. I don't know why we decided to go with the Skunk Clan, but that's what
Stinky.
happened. So I became Skunk Goofy for a while. My older brother became Skunk Phoenix, I think it was, and it might have been something before that. He's
Right.
Phoenix now, but and then my uncle was like Skunk Panda or whatever, and we were rocking that for a really long time. Actually, I was Skunk Goofy for probably 3 years or 4 years, and then I got a PC just for Fortnite. Literally, I got into Fortnite, and I was still Skunk Goofy on Fortnite, but I
Really?
got a PC specifically just to play Fortnite.
Wow.
I wasn't planning on like content creation, none of that. I just wanted to be better at Fortnite. As
Wow.
dumb as that is, like I feel like that sounds dumb, but
So,
like
I want you to continue your story, but with that being your first PC game, so that was your first keyboard and mouse experience, right?
To a point. So I had played on like keyboard and mouse beforehand. Like it wasn't my main thing. My main thing was honestly mobile games. Like
Hmm.
I when it came to gaming in specific, I was mainly on my phone. And then
Right.
obviously I had experience on a controller from playing as a kid and
Right.
whatnot, playing on other people's consoles and stuff like that. And I would go to the libraries after school and stuff and play on the computers there. So like I got a little bit of everything, you know what I mean? At least a little bit of experience on everything. When I moved to Fortnite though, that honestly, that was my first like real idea of keyboard and mouse. If you want to say like, yeah,
Right.
that was my first experience. That was my first real idea of keyboard and mouse and like how like the benefits of it, I guess, and the downfalls of it between controller and keyboard and mouse, you
Right.
know. So, yeah, I definitely got into it late, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. So you had, so you had on Fortnite, you started getting into PC, and you had your
Yeah,
Skunk Clan. So how did Skunk Goofy on Fortnite evolve into you having your
it's
own
goofy on
personalized
COD.
brand? Yeah.
Okay. I went so from Fortnite, I obviously started playing Cold War, right? And when I got my PC, I did change my name to what was it? It was Goofy something. It
Uh-huh.
wasn't anything goofy. It was Goofy something like or Goofy Go Nuts. That's what it was. Goofy
Goofy
Go Nuts.
donuts.
Yeah,
So that
that was
sounds like
actually
that sounds
my
like a protein bar.
that was that was actually my original Twitch at. Like that was what my first when I made Twitch. That is what my at was Goofy Go Nuts. And
Yeah.
I honestly love that name. I'm not even gonna lie. Goofy Go Nuts, like that's fire.
Yeah.
When I'm still thinking back on that to
Because
this day,
bro,
that's a
I
fire
think I
name.
think the cool thing about that is Goofy Go Nuts. You could literally do like GG, like Goofy Go, and then like the S at the end, like GG's.
Yeah, that's crazy because I had an emo on Twitch that was a lot like that, but like it said Goofy, but like the G was big and then Goofy
Yeah.
was tiny, and then Go, but the G and Go was
Yeah,
big and the
yeah.
O was tiny, and then Nuts was tiny on the end too. I don't. It
That's
was a
funny.
cool little yeah.
Yeah.
It was a cool little thing. That's crazy that you bring that up, but um then I guess from Goofy Go Nuts, I moved into Cold War, obviously,
hmm
and I started playing with Blink
Would
and
would you
started.
would you say that Cold War made your impact in, or do you think that you kind of really got yourself out there with this COD?
Oof.
Because you was
I
good on Cold War. You'd
yeah,
reached out to a good
I was
amount.
gonna say I feel like it's kind of half and half.
Okay.
I would say it really depends on the platform because I did well on Twitch with Cold War, right?
hmm
And that was basically I didn't really make too much content with Cold War. Like I didn't really know how to edit. Like that was my big thing.
Bruh.
I didn't really know how to edit yet. And with me editing was more of a task as for now I edit for fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I'll hit the clips and then immediately close out of Modern Warfare 2 to go and have fun editing because I just
Yeah.
hit a nasty ass clip. Whatever it is, you know. And so I didn't really like know any of that back then. So it was really hard for me to want to make content. So into this new Modern Warfare, I would say I probably had more of a streaming
hmm
growth when it came to Cold War,
This is
and
more
for Modern Warfare, it's
personalized.
content. Yeah, for Modern Warfare, it's more content like TikTok, YouTube, stuff like
Bruh.
that. Because I've had a huge like upgrade with YouTube content recently and whatnot, like between thumbnails and all that. So like YouTube is probably gonna be my biggest grind from here on out. I'm not gonna lie, like obviously I love streaming. Streaming
Of
is one
course.
of my favorite things to do, and I'm not gonna stop that. But YouTube, I'm just having so much fun with it right
Yeah.
now. Like
And you
I'm
have to have
just
a backup
enjoying
plan.
it so much. Like
You
yeah,
you have to
exactly.
have a backup plan. Anything can fall
Yep.
through. So I definitely understand it. Excuse me. So yeah. So before I bring up the topic that we wanted to talk about, before that, I'm intrigued to know because you are one of the very few creators that can do that. Can play alone. Can hit a 6 shot. Instantly leave the match, and you're right in the editing. Most people leave it in their folders, they reach out to somebody else, or it never gets posted. So, how did you develop that mindset of instantly being like, I hit the shot, I'm so excited, I want the world to see it? Because a lot of people can't find that because they can't edit, or they don't feel like it, or they don't have time, or oh, I have work in an hour, I want to play more. Like, how is that in Goofy's mindset? How does that make sense?
So a big thing with me, because like I said, I wasn't that way before. I wasn't like during Cold War's reign. I wasn't that way. I was
Yeah.
a streamer. You know what I mean? And I would say the big thing that flipped my mindset was started working with people who were more into content than
hmm
streaming. You know what I mean? I started surrounding myself with people who knew things that I didn't, as in like they were doing well on TikTok, they were doing well on YouTube, you know what I mean? Boost does really well on YouTube. I've been
Right.
surrounding myself with Boost for a while now, you know what I mean? And then like I have a bunch of homies over on TikTok that aren't even in our community. They're just like IRL homies that are like million plus followers on
Right.
TikTok that know exactly what they're doing and whatnot that I keep myself surrounded with just to keep an idea on what I need to do and whatnot, and just like to get the extra help that I can, you know. And I think that was huge for me. Being like making sure that I surrounded myself with the right group kept my motivation up in areas that I didn't exactly have motivation in. you know,
Yeah,
like seeing
definitely.
other people do things that I personally wanted to do but didn't know how to do, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
That was my
it's
big thing.
that's always good to have that mindset, and I
Oh,
think that's
am I
huh?
muted or are you muted?
Oh,
my hold on.
you good? Can you hear me? Hello. I can't hear you now. Oh man, I can't hear you.
Hello?
Welcome back. I'm gonna leave it in. I ain't cutting that out. That's on you.
That's so fucked up.
That's on you.
It's not fucked up that you're leaving it in. It's fucked up that that happened in general. Like, what?
Oh man.
What is that,
I'm
bro?
crying, dude. Ah,
Um, I
jeez.
I do just want to make this known. You might have to cut this out, but I do have RAM coming in today, and I do not want to leave that outside. So if it
Yeah.
does show up mid podcast, I'm gonna run
Oh
upstairs
no,
and
that's
grab that
fine.
really
No
quick.
big deal. No big
All
deal
right,
at all. I mean, I'll leave it in
all
unless if it's something you want to cut out, but I completely
right, yeah,
understand.
no, yeah,
But yeah, if you have a step play, that's fine. So yeah, so getting to all that, before all that happened, the last topic was about is about the motivation for you to be able to have and touch
right.
that. So that's the topic that I want to go into, and something that you brought up that you obviously wanted to talk about, and that's dealing with struggles and having to have breaks and mental health, and just kind of being depressed. You're not growing as a creator. You're not reaching out as much. You always have to be the one to reach out to people, and nobody reaches out to you. So what is your advice and your take on that, of how you deal with that, and how to kind of spread that light on some creators of how you dealt with it?
So first thing I do want to say is you guys, as a lot of people know recently, I did just go through like a very, very harsh breakup and
Hmm.
whatnot that really was hard on my mental between me and my
Yeah.
kid's mom. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I feel like a lot of people experience stuff like that while streaming or content creation that really like it takes motivation away from those kinds of things, even though you wouldn't expect it to, because it's a completely outside factor. You know what I mean? Like you will lose motivation when it comes to outside factors. Like you have to be ready for that. And that was definitely something that I personally wasn't ready for, and that I feel like a lot of people aren't ready for, and it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
When it came to that, I think the best thing that truly like helped me out of that situation and out of that was also to touch on like surrounding myself with people, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, that
100%.
the like had the grind, had the motivation, and doing that helped me keep focus on content and wanting to hit clips and whatnot, which took my mind off of other things, you know what I mean, which were the outside factors that I was dealing with personally.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna have to deal with this, you know what I mean? Like being human is just being human. You are bound to go through something that is gonna hurt you, or is gonna hurt someone that you love, that in turn like affects you as well, you
Right.
know? And like that's just a human thing to happen, and everyone's gonna deal with it differently.
Hmm.
And in my opinion, obviously take as much time as you would need to away from content. Like don't be scared to take time away from content. Yeah, it may affect somewhat of the numbers, but I'm going to tell you this, you in the long run are a lot more important than those few numbers that you're gaining. You know what I mean? Like if you aren't there, then the content isn't there. And that's just that. And there's going to be that small group, even if it is a small group, that sticks around for you and your content and still wants to support you. And if you aren't there, then then there's no point in that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
definitely, yeah, take as much time as you would personally need, which I did. I took few weeks, maybe even like a month or two to myself, and I really figured stuff out. I was really like contemplating a lot and whatnot, and I came back to content creation, which was my biggest thing. I'm not gonna lie,
Hmm.
I didn't know if I was gonna come back to it or not,
Bro.
and me taking the step to be like, I know this is what I wanted, you know what I mean? And just because this big thing happened in my life, I can't exactly let it change my
Sure.
end goals, I can't let this change my end goals. So I continued to keep grinding, came back to content creation. And even now I still deal with some outside factors,
Hmm.
every like that is still bound to happen. I still deal with that to this day. But the long run that I have made for myself within that short amount of time, you know what I mean? Just coming back from that break, just what I've been able to accomplish with a much better mindset going towards things and a lot more motivation and all of that. It's just like it's something that you have to do to experience, you know what I mean? So like if you are going through anything that is affecting you very, very bad mentally or even physically, you know what I mean? Like take
Hmm.
the time that you need, but at least attempt to come back and do what you originally wanted to do and had fun doing. Because mindset does go into this, you know what I mean? Mindset will
See,
affect
so
you. So
I
sometimes
think
you need
one
to
of
reset.
the most important things I think for you that I want to hear your take on and your advice to other creators. I mean, obviously, when emergencies, unfortunate events, breakups, relationships, kids, whatever's
Right.
involved, like those things are a bit different. But the most common thing for people to take breaks is, Goofy is not a numbers guy, but you are very invested on how to branch yourself out, how to get to those numbers, and you've done that in many platforms. And a lot of people that either take breaks or lose that motivation are the ones that haven't found any type of breakthrough. Like, oh, I've streamed for 3, 4 weeks and I've only averaged 2 viewers every single time. Nobody wants me. Nobody checks. I never get any raids. Nobody subs to me. So like, what is your advice for those creators that do genuinely want it, but they get so caught up in the moment because they're not as successful and they start losing the whole reason they got into it in the first place?
Okay, so a big thing that I would say with that, I personally would look at that as almost like burnout. You know, I wouldn't
Mhm.
say burnout, but like almost like a burnout. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like it's almost like a burnout. So if you're grinding for so long, let's say you're grinding for 6 months, you're averaging 2 viewers. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you're wondering why you're not growing at all. I would say do a big look into the type of content that you are creating,
Mhm.
right? For one, because a lot of the time when it comes to people like that, they just they just put out the content, you know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
really digging into what's doing well at this point in time. They're not doing any extra like the extra research that I personally have done and that everyone that does well in this industry has to do. Like like this is just that you have to do this extensive research. And yeah, it is time consuming. Yeah, it does kind of, I'm not going to lie, somewhat suck,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's created something that I enjoy. You know what I mean? So like it's just a part of the process. Yeah, it's just got to be added in there. So I would say take a step back, just take a small breather, you know what I mean? Take a step back, look at some things that you can improve, watch your streams back. That's something that I did that I feel like a lot of people don't do is I watched my streams back. I looked at the dead spots of the stream. I realized what I was doing that wasn't entertaining and what was entertaining. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? What keeps an audience, what keeps people commenting. Like I was really trying to focus on that, watching my streams back. I watched my content back, like, and try and like listen to people who are genuine. Like as you were saying earlier
Mhm.
when me and you were talking about Frosty, I
Right.
was willing to tell Frosty, hey, your video kind of booty. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I was I'm open about that stuff and it's because like I know personally I want people to be open about that kind of stuff to me, you know what I mean? Because I
Right.
know there's spots where I need to improve and I know there's spots where I can improve. I just need to hear it from an outside factor. You know what I mean? It's maybe
Yeah.
something I'm not seeing that other people will see. So definitely try and take I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Try and take criticism
Mhm.
to your content. Try and take it with a grain of salt and just add whatever they're talking in and at least attempt it. You know what I mean? Whatever
Yeah.
they're trying to get you to change, at least attempt the change to see if there is any change that you can maybe see with it or it just that change is better in general,
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. I mean, I think that's the
And
biggest factor too, is because a lot of people's like, they're like, oh, like I've not been anywhere for 6 months, and then somebody's like, here, like try this. And they're like, no, it's not going to change anything. And it's like, what does it matter? Like you're already complaining that you're 6 months, so you want to go 7, 8, 9, fucking 10 because you can't take that. Like that makes no sense.
right, right. Constructive criticism is big in this industry and you got to be able to take that, you know?
Yeah.
It's
So on
definitely it's hard to surround yourself with people that are willing to do that though. So you got to surround yourself with a solid crew that is honest with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So on that topic, the breaks and what you can do to kind of get back to yourself better and stuff. Obviously, your current break in your personal life, that has recently happened, but you've been a social media manager for a while. So the last couple topics I wanted to talk about before we get off here, how did you get into social media managing? I mean, you managed for me for a little bit. I just run into some real life circumstances. So how did you get into doing that for other creators, knowing that if I can make it, you could easily be like, that information is mine. You can't fucking have it. Leave me alone. Like you could have done that, but you didn't, and you chose to help out creators. So how did that happen? How did you just wake up one day and be like, yo, pay me a little bit and I'll manage your content?
Honestly, it didn't even start out with pay me a little bit. It
Really?
started out just me. Yeah, it started out with me just kind of helping friends here and there. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like people would be like, "Yo, how should I do this TikTok?" Or someone would be like, "Yo, I don't want to edit this TikTok right now." And I'd just be in a mood where I'm like, I want to help someone and I want to edit, and I have
Yeah.
nothing to edit right now because I already have a video to put out tomorrow. So I'd be like, just send me the Google Drive link, and everyone was always like, I'll pay you, I'll pay you, I'll
Mm-hmm.
pay you, I'll give you money. And I'm like, no, 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 you know what I mean? Because I wasn't trying to be a social media
Right.
manager. I was just doing this to help the homies out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sat in a call with, I think it was Frosty. It was either Frosty or just like someone that's close
Right.
to that group. You know what I mean? It was one of them. I sat
Mm-hmm.
in a call with one of them, and I was talking about extra ways that I could basically just make a quick buck, I guess you could say.
Right.
Extra ways that I can make a quick buck. And we were talking about like sponsors and all kinds of stuff. And he was like, why don't you do like social media manage? And he named Fumes, if you know who Fumes is. He's like, why
Mm-hmm.
don't you do something like Fumes? And then do social media managing. He's like, you do really well on TikTok. You make really entertaining content. You know what I mean? Like you know how to go about content, and like there's not one person in this community that's gonna like get a video from you and be like, "Oh, I hate this video
Yeah.
so much. You did everything bad, blah blah
Yeah.
blah." Which that made me feel good. I'm like, I'll take that. But with that being said, I was like, honestly, I might give it a try. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to gain up at least a couple clients first to see how it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna go and do all that. So I started just putting out like, hey, I'm gonna start doing content creation management, like mainly short form. I didn't start doing long form until
Right.
recently, but I was like mainly short form, all this, and I got a couple clients within the first like couple weeks, that were just close within the community, mainly closer to my community.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started like telling other creators about it, like actual creators instead of like the people who just wanted to get into content creation, me making their first TikToks and
Yeah.
stuff managing. So like I started hitting up people like Rye and like people like bigger size, you know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? People that I feel like I could genuinely like boost into a crazy number, and
100%.
start hitting people up like that. And I feel like that genuinely kind of helped launch my stuff because when I started hitting people like that up, they started like actually promoting me. Like if anyone
Yeah.
was like, I need a social media manager, blah blah blah, I was the person tagged in a lot of the posts
I'm
that were
I'm one of
coming
those
from
people.
that for a minute. Yeah, you were one of those people that were tagging me in those posts, for instance. Like, and that definitely helped a ton. Like I got a ton of commissions that way. And then I started managing for people that were like I don't want to say huge, but like
Right.
pretty decent size on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, you know what I mean? Like 100K plus. And once I dove into that and I started actually pulling in consistent like 1.5 million views, shit like that for those
Mm-hmm.
kinds of creators, I realized, okay, I can definitely pull in these views easily, and pulling in these views consistently is huge, you know what I mean? You continue to pull in those views, you're bound to blow up at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I can pull in those views, then I can definitely do it for the smaller people, the smaller community, you know
So
what I mean? So
for
that's kind of
for all the ones that
what
you
I've
ended up helping, like when did you kind of start realize like you started getting back, like not like the money, but like you started receiving messages like, yo, like I just woke up this morning and see my TikTok, man. Thank you so much. Like you've helped me, blah blah. Blah. Like when did that all sinking in for you? Shout out Skunk.
um I would say that probably started. Oh shit, I'm getting a call. Hold on.
You're good.
I'd say that probably started like a month into me doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I started like creating content that was more based around like S&D more than because like at first it was respawn. I was doing a lot of respawn people, and then I started doing like people who were an S&D content creator, and that I feel like that's kind of when people realized like, yo, you're pulling in a consistent 10K views for me, like, and I
Yeah.
started getting a lot of those messages and whatnot.
So to come back to it, so we was on the topic of being able to have creators reach back out to you after you've helped them and after noticing that change and stuff and kind of how it impacted you. So do you feel like that's made a difference on you since you started receiving that? Like when you started noticing that not only is your content changing, but you're helping other people change their content?
Do you mean like a difference in me mentally or
Yeah,
like?
I guess that's the best way to put it because I mean I'm sure it gave you like a newfound motivation, right?
Yeah, well, oh yeah, for sure. So I guess what it really did for me personally was make me just have more of a drive to want to help other people. You know what I mean? Which I
Mm-hmm.
definitely feel like helped my career, you know? Because networking is huge within this industry. You know what I mean? Like the only way
Mm-hmm.
to grow the way that you truly want to is to be willing to work with other creators because mixing communities, you know what? Like whether you're helping other people with your community rating out or just whatever it is, or they're helping you, you know what I mean? Like that's just huge for any industry, any person in any industry ever. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So like I would definitely say that it's been how do I want to word this? I want to word this right, I guess you could say,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been uh it's been I guess different to see the motivation for like I guess content and whatnot when it came to that just because like when I'm editing for other people, like I want to do all the extra stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you see like the pictures and stuff that I do on my own. Like I do
Right.
pictures, like
Mm-hmm.
audio cues, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And like I do all that extra stuff because I know it's gonna make the video perform better on my own stuff. But when it comes to editing other people's stuff, it's just like what I want to do because I want the other person to enjoy it.
Right.
So I guess it's made me enjoy editing more as well, you know? It's made me want to do extra stuff and learn extra stuff with editing. So
Yeah,
there's another
definitely.
plus with it.
Yeah, definitely. I would fully agree, and I think that it is awesome. I mean, even like for me, like I only had you as mine for a month, but I mean, you made a huge change not only just in my content, but just helping me and Frosty and all these other creators to have a better mindset and different take and just different advice
Right.
to give to grow as a creator. So the last thing I wanted to talk about before we end off here is one of your, I don't know if it's like one of your most recent accomplishments, but the day that you ended up getting into demon season, when that day and everything
Yeah,
had changed
that
for
was
you.
huge
I
for me
want
for
I
sure.
want to talk about a little bit about that because it's not the fact that you got into the team, it's the fact that all those creators that you look up to and help you create content, like now you get to be a part of it with them. So tell me a little bit about
Mhm.
that.
Honestly, joining Demon that was a goal that I had set from the very beginning of Demon's life. I don't know if you were really like around the Demon crew, but like
Hmm.
I've always been around Demon season. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I knew Boost, Chris, MJ, all them before they even started Demon season. Like we all started creating content together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I watched them create Demon Season, and they started doing really well with streaming, with content, with all of that stuff right after making Demon Season. And I don't know. It made me realize that like seeing the motivation that they were giving each other within the team, and like
Hmm.
seeing oh, I learned this today. You can do this with your video.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Like the ideas thrown back and forth, just everything that they were doing. I was like, I want to be a part of that. Like I genuinely want to be a part of that. You know, like yeah, I started making content with them in the beginning, but like since they were a team, you know what I mean? They were together all the time, doing stuff together all the time, and they could genuinely bounce ideas like that. So I was like, shoot, like, do I stop my obey grind and start grinding for demon? Because by that point, I was already grinding for obey, or what do
Yeah.
I do? And that's exactly what I did. I actually stopped my obey grind for a minute there and started grinding for demon. And then after a while, I honestly like I didn't necessarily denounce my demon grind, but I didn't
Right.
necessarily like I didn't push for it as much, you
Right.
know what I mean? I was more focused on my own content, which I think is the best thing that I could have done. This is the whole reason I got noticed, is because like, yeah, I've realized that teams want you to enjoy what you're doing, and they want to see you enjoying what you're doing. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of the people that are grinding for a team, they're grinding for something.
Right.
It's hard to enjoy what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're just putting it out to put it out because you're grinding for something. And
Right.
I feel like that's a big thing with a lot of teams. And once Demon seen me just grinding to grind, just doing TikTok to have fun with it, just streaming to have fun with it, you know what I mean? That's when they actually started taking a genuine interest in me, and they were like, "All right, Goofy's doing something over here," you know what I mean? And then joining Demon has been huge for me. As you can see, there's been a huge upgrade when it came to
Yeah.
thumbnails recently. And like my content has just been a whole lot funnier, like just between all of us giving reactions and all that, and being able to do content with my friends, because like Demon, yeah, they're my team, but like they're genuinely my friends that are on this team.
Yeah.
Like Chris, Tange, Boost, all of them, they are my genuine friends. You know what I mean? When I hop on Call of Duty, I hop on to play with them because I just have a fun time doing it. And I think that's been huge for me for sure. I think that's been really big for my motivation, really big for my mental.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good to see it, and I think that's definitely one of the number one things as a creator that everybody kind of longs for, but nobody ever says, is to surround yourself with like-minded people, and specifically for you. I mean, I feel like there's everybody has different versions of like-minded people, and I feel like yours is kind of like what people's mindset like needs to be, like not only people that's fun to hang out with, but also people that's grinding for their content, because like-minded people could mean like people that just see the world the way that I do, or people that want to grow with content the same way that I want to grow with content. And I think you have a little bit more of the right idea of that, and they're a sick group of individuals. I mean, I've been friends with most
Yeah,
of them for a good long time,
bunch of cool guys.
and they're amazing. So to end everything off here, one of the last questions that I have that I asked everybody: is there anything coming up? Do you have any plans coming up? Anything you're looking forward to? Anything you want to share for your community or people that don't know you?
Honestly, I've been working on quite a big project here recently, and
Okay.
it's a TikTok project, but it's probably going to get posted to YouTube as well, just
Okay.
like in a longer form. You know what I
Right.
mean? Just because TikTok is shorter form. But obviously, as a lot of people know, I am doing my whole like 10K thing for TikTok and whatnot.
Hmm.
So that is what I have planned, and it is a huge. It's my first montage type edit, and I've been trying to like genuine montage type edit. I guess I have a couple of them that I messed around with, but like I put a lot of work into this one, and I'm excited to get it out for sure. So whenever
Yeah.
that does drop, definitely keep an eye out for that because it is going to be my best work by far.
Definitely, yeah. I'm 100% excited for it. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we hop off here?
Thanks for having me. That's about
Of
it.
course, man.
I appreciate this
It's
big time, bro.
yeah,
You're a goat.
it's been a blast. I really appreciate you being on. Thank you so much for just coming on, being able to share your story and help other creators, especially mental health awareness for those that want to take breaks and want to
Yep.
connect to the right people and just have the right mindset and intentions is very important for everybody. But again, this is Feeds Mindset episode number 10. We finally hit double digits. It's insane. All the creators that have reached back out to me and everything that I have planned. I'm really excited for it, and I just individually everybody that's on here, I just really appreciate your time. But thank you guys so much for watching. This is Feeds Mindset episode 10. My name is Feeds, and I'm out, guys.